Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ. Now in this video we will learn about socio-religious reform movements in 19th century. Okay, so we are going to deal with socio-religious reform movements in 19th century. Okay, so socio-religious reform movements in 19th century. Now before we proceed with this topic, you just need to have some idea about the problems that Indian society was facing at that time. Okay, so when we discuss about problems, again there are two different types. Okay, or you can understand it in two categories, like general problems which are irrespective of religion, region, language or whatever it is. Across India there are certain general problems and there are some specific problems for particular religion or for particular region or some particular caste, etc. Okay, so let's try to understand what were the general problems and what were the specific problems, at least some of them. Now if you see general, okay, if you see general issues at that time, the first and most important is related to educational system. Okay, so educational system was very orthodox or outdated. So we have already discussed about this when we have discussed about education, right? See, if you see Hindu education system, it was very old. It was not updated from Gupta period onwards. So it is completely outdated. Now when you talk about Muslim education, although the system was changed during the time of Mughals in 13th and 14th century, but they continued the same thing even now also, right? So what was modern in 13th and 14th century is not modern now. It is outdated. Okay, so both Hindu education or Muslim education, whether the madrasa system or the Gurukul system, etc., are having a lot of problems. So general problem when we discuss, the first and most important is educational system. Okay, then second one, you can see obviously irrespective of religion, superstitious belief. Okay, superstition, whether Hindu or Muslim or whatever religion, there are problems, and whatever region, there are still this problem is there. Okay, now the third one is gender discrimination. In all religion, across region, this problem is there except in some tribal sections. Okay, so gender discrimination. So when we discuss about general problems, these are the three most important points you can highlight. Now let's look at some specific problem. What do you mean by specific problem? It can be for some specific religion, it can be for some specific caste, it can be for some specific region. So like child marriage is in western part of India, so it's a particular regional issue, right? So child marriage was practiced in western part of India. So if you see sati or widow remarriage is prohibited, which was in upper caste Hindu, so that is a particular caste. Not in all Hindu, not in all religion, it is in a particular caste sati was practiced. Okay, and that too in northern India. So that is actually a combination of caste and region, North India and upper caste. Now if you see Parda system which was practiced, that was among Muslims, that was again a particular religious issue. And if you see polygamy, okay, then that was also practiced among Muslims. So these are some issues that you can say specific issues, like sati, widow issue, child marriage, polygamy, Parda system, talaq, triple talaq, then what else? Female infanticide, that especially among Rajput caste. Okay, so that was also belong to a particular caste. So generally, basically, I want to tell you certain issues that Indian society was witnessing during 19th century. We have discussed general issues and we have seen some specific issues which are related to particular religion, region or caste. Now let's see various socio-religious reform movements. Now when we discuss about this, we will discuss two types of movements. Reformist movements. Okay, now what is reformist movement? They responded with the time and scientific temper of modern era. Okay, so they responded with the change in time and scientific temper of modern era. Okay, so they were the pro changes, or they promoted change, or they supported change, or whatever good is there, they supported it. English education, if it is good, they supported it. On the other hand, you can see revivalist. So they thought that the Western system is ruining Indian culture, so they were against Western culture. Okay, so they thought that Western education and Western culture is ruining the Indian system and culture. And they started reviving the old Indian culture. the old Indian customs and tradition of ancient and medieval past. Now you can see both reformist and revivalist in both religions, Hindu and Muslims. You can see a reformist movement in Muslims and in Hindus. So when we talk about Muslims, we will talk about Aligarh movement and Sir Syed Ahmad Khan will discuss. When we talk about Hindus, mostly we will discuss about Raja Ram Mohan Roy and associated developments. Now revivalist also you can see among Muslims and Hindus. So when we talk about Muslims, we will talk about Wahhabi movement, and when we talk about Hindu, we will talk about Arya Samaj movement and Dayanand Saraswati and associated developments. Now why we call this as reformist? Why categorizing them as reformist? See, they were ready to accept Western culture. So they accepted Western culture, and at the same time they are proud of their own culture also. Okay, so whatever is good from Western culture they accepted, at the same time they followed their own culture also. But revivalists, they reacted to the Western culture. They said nothing is good in the Western culture, and they tried to revive Indian culture, custom and tradition which was practiced in ancient and medieval time. And revivalist, you can see Wahhabi movement from Muslim side and Arya Samaj movement from Hindu side, and you can see in both there is a strong feeling of rejection towards West. And you can see a lot of Wahhabis are actively participating in 1857 revolt also. And in fact, Wahhabis were much more organized than many local rulers. We'll come to that. Now what we'll do is we'll start off with the reformist movement. Within that I'll start with Raja Ram Mohan Roy first. Okay, so let's start off with Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Okay, now he is known as father of modern India. Father of modern India. Now what do you mean by modern, or what is the difference between modern and Western? Is everything Western is modern, or everything modern is Western? Is that true? Now there is a common convention by Indians that everything which is Western is modern and everything which is Indian is traditional. Is that true? See, what is modernity? If I ask you, modernity is actually rational thinking. So modernity is basically a mindset which is related to rational thinking. If you start thinking rationally, if you start thinking logically, if you are giving arguments on the basis of evidence and reason, then you can be called as a modern person. When you question something, when you challenge something which is based on evidence and reason, and if others are accepting, then you can call that as modern. Now, people having all modern gadgets and living in posh colonies, but they exploit women and they don't consider their baby girl as equal to the baby boy, you cannot consider them as modern because their mindset is still traditional. Only thing is life is modern, but the mindset is still medieval or very traditional. Now on the other hand, if you take a poor man, he don't have any such modern gadgets, he live in slum, but he consider his baby girl as equal to baby boy, or he is treating women with great respect. You can say this person is modern because his mindset is modern, although his lifestyle is not modern. So I hope you might have understood what you mean by modern or Western. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy was called as modern because of his mindset. He was open to changes and he was ready to accept whatever is good from the West. Now, he was a very well educated person. He learned all modern as well as classical languages like Arabic, Sanskrit, Persian, Hebrew. Now, what is Hebrew? This Bible was originally written in this language, Hebrew. Okay. So the reason why he learned all these is basically because all the Vedas and Upanishads are actually written in Sanskrit. Quran was written in Arabic and Bible was written in Hebrew. So if you need to study religion properly, you have to read the original textbook. Now, most of the Vedas and Upanishads were in poetic in nature. So when you translate that, you will lose most important content from that, or it depends on the translator, right? So the content may be different. So to understand religion properly, read the original text, and to read the original text, he studied all the classical languages like Arabic, Sanskrit and Hebrew. Now, he read all the religious textbook and he got better idea about all religions, and he was, I told you already, ready to accept everything good from everything. Okay, whatever is good from a particular religion, he is ready to accept it. So from Christianity, he found that humanity is the great element. Okay, so he was ready to accept humanity from Christianity. Now from Hinduism, what I find interesting is spirituality. Okay, so here Christianity, it is humanity. In Hinduism, spiritualism, okay, or spirituality. Now in Islam, the important thing which attracted him was equality. Okay, so he find these three good elements in these three religion, and he was ready to accept these three from three religions. He also studied some great poets like Hafiz and Rumi, the Persian poets. Now he studied modern day thinkers like Voltaire, Rousseau, Montesquieu, etc. And they brought, you will be studying this under world history, they brought French Revolution. So we will be discussing about this in detail later in 1789. Now see, he was born in 1772. So obviously these events will affect his mindset, right? So those who are born during this time, French Revolution is something which is very important. It will definitely attract their mind. Now why he learned all this religion is basically because, see, the problem with the present system is you don't have knowledge about other religion. If you know the religion, if you know other religion, you will automatically start respecting them. Now the problem is you don't know about other religion. Forget about other religion. We don't know about our own religion. We accidentally born in particular religion. So he was able to understand the secret of development of West, and that was reasoning and logical thinking. I told you in the beginning itself, everything which is based on evidence and reason. So reasoning and logical thinking is the actual reason for the success of West. Okay. Now, he literally triggered the movement called as movement of mind. He influenced a major part of India, not just Bengal. In 1814, one important point, founded Atmiya Sabha in Calcutta. I'm not writing it completely. Atmiya Sabha in Calcutta. In 1818, his friend David Harry, okay, his friend David Harry, an Anglo-Indian who started a Hindu college in Calcutta. He started a Hindu college at Calcutta, and Ram Mohan Roy used to teach history and literature here. Okay, so David Harry, Hindu College, Calcutta. Ram Mohan Roy used to teach history and literature here. Now another point is, in 1825, he founded Vedanta College in Calcutta. Okay, he founded Vedanta College in Calcutta. He introduced two new subjects. One was mechanics. That means he gave importance to scientific education. Okay, so till then this was not practiced. I told you already, the general problem was the problem with educational system. Both Hindu system as well as Muslim system were outdated and they were not ready to update. Okay, so he introduced mechanics, and another is Voltaire's philosophy. Okay, he was a French philosopher. I told you he was influenced by Voltaire earlier. Okay, so both were related to science. Mechanics was pure science, and Voltaire's philosophy is a political science. So there is a change started in education setup. Now in 1818, he started Brahmo Sabha. Okay, Brahmo Sabha in Calcutta. Later it came to be known as Brahmo Samaj. People like Devendranath Tagore, who was the father of Ravindranath Tagore, and Keshub Chandra Sen joined the Samaj and spread the movement outside Bengal. Especially Keshub Chandra Sen made it an all India movement. So his contribution was much more. Okay, so Devendranath Tagore, Keshub Chandra Sen, they joined Brahmo Samaj and they spread the movement across India, not just Bengal. And Keshub Chandra Sen's contribution was much more in spreading the movement. Now let's see what was the objective of Brahmo Sabha or Brahmo Samaj. So the first point is promotion of monotheism. See, this can be asked as an objective question. Okay, see, you can get MCQs like, which among the following is the objective of Brahmo Samaj? Promotion of monotheism. Promotion of monotheism. That means oneness of God, one God concept. See, he translated Rig Veda and 6 Upanishads to Bengali language, and concluded that the idea of one God and formless God is already there in Hindu Vedas itself. But it is misunderstood. Now in Hindu system, because of this misunderstanding, there are hundreds of Devis and hundreds of Devadas, etc. were there, right? So he said in Vedas and Upanishad itself, there is a concept of one God, single God, and the God is formless, etc. is there. And he stated that it is written in Rig Veda like Iva Ika Dvityam. That is, there is only one God. Okay? And Na Pradima Asti. Na Pratima Asti. That means he has no image. So what is the conclusion? God is one and formless. So God is one and formless. That means without any human or animal attribute. So you cannot treat a human as a god, or you cannot treat an animal as a god. God is one and formless. Now in most of the society, especially among Hindus, the common belief is pantheism, polytheism. See, these words are important for you. You may get these words in comprehension questions also. Okay. So what do you mean by polytheism? Believing in more than one God. Okay, more than one God. What is pantheism? Pantheism means seeing or treating everything as God. You see a stone, you take it as God. You see a tree, you consider it as God. You see a river, you take it as God. You see a mountain, you consider it as God. So treating everything as God, that's what pantheism means. Okay. So Ram Mohan Roy, on the basis of his study, he concluded that there is only one God and there is no image, or the God is formless. So that's the first objective, promotion of monotheism. Second is opposed idol worship. Opposed idol worship. See, the idea is belief in one God means belief in one mankind. When you're believing in multiple gods, they are creating a lot of issues, multiple mankinds. So that create different religion, different caste, etc. and that creating a lot of divide. So to solve all the problems, even to solve the problems of untouchability, you believe in one God, you should not practice idol worship. So there is one God, one mankind. When we discuss about Arya Samaj, although we are discussing it as a revivalist movement, this is a common point. Even in Arya Samaj also, they oppose idol worship, and you cannot see any idols in the Arya Samaj temple. So very, very important point. So you may have confusion, because when we discuss about revivalism or revivalist movement, you may think that opposing idol worship may not be there in Arya Samaj. Okay, but one of the point in Arya Samaj, when we discuss about Arya Samaj, we will discuss this. Even in Arya Samaj also, they opposed idol worship, and you cannot see any idols in Arya Samaj temples across India. Now, one of his most important contribution is related to Sati. All of you know that. So he opposed Sati, and he faced a lot of problems from the society and even from his family. And in fact, he saved 2 females from the spot with the help of some volunteers. He went there, he convinced the relatives, and he saved 2 females from committing sati. Okay, so sati is a practice which was among the upper caste Hindus in northern part of India. I told you already. What is the practice? The husband has died, the female will immolate herself into the funeral pyre of the husband, right? So which was very brutal practice, but it was banned, or anti-sati resolution was passed by Lord William Bentinck in 1828 with the effort of Ram Mohan Roy. Under anti-sati resolution, sati was declared as culpable homicide not amounting to murder, and a maximum imprisonment of 10 years was given for those who instigate or compel the female to commit suicide. So this is one of the most important contribution from Lord William Bentinck's side as well as Ram Mohan Roy's side. Okay, so he opposed caste hierarchy, especially untouchability. But there was no such movement for abolition of untouchability from Ram Mohan Roy's side, unlike in case of Sati. Sati, he put a lot of effort, okay, but untouchability he although opposed, but there was no such movements against untouchability. He also opposed untouchability, opposed Sati. He promoted women education. He promoted women education. And he opened schools for girls after 1825. See, at that time it was not very easy for women to go out of the home. Okay, so he promoted women education and he started schools for female. Now, he is also important for his literary contribution. So let's see his literary contribution also. He was a writer himself. He introduced essay writing on contemporary issues. Okay, so he introduced essay writing on contemporary issues. The problem with Indian literature is it's full of fantasies and stories, and it is completely cut off from the mainstream society or the problems that the society was facing. So he introduced essay writing on contemporary issues. Now they are going to write, or the people are going to read about the contemporary issues. So it will create awareness among the minds of the young people. Okay, so he literally made a movement which is known as movement of mind. Now, another literary contribution is he is the pioneer in starting the Indian language newspaper. So when we discussed about press freedom, we have discussed about all those newspapers and everything. So I told you the first newspaper in India was Bengal Gazette, and it was by James Augustus Hickey, which was in English language. And I told you the first Indian language newspaper, that is Samvad Kaumudi, which was published by Ram Mohan Roy. Okay, so he was the pioneer in first Indian language newspaper in 1818, Samvad Kaumudi, which was in Bengali language. Okay, Samvad Kaumudi in Bengali language. Okay, so he himself was the editor. Okay, so he was the editor of this newspaper, and the speciality is this is the first Indian language newspaper, Bengali language. In 1821, he published in Persian language Mirat ul Akbar, okay, which was in Persian language. So these are some literary contribution. If you get some factual questions, you need to be in a position to answer. Okay, so this you need to be very careful, Mirat ul Akbar. Otherwise, see who was the editor or who published this newspaper, and if you get options like Sir Syed Ahmad Khan and Raja Ram Mohan Roy, you will stuck between two and you will mark Sir Syed Ahmad Khan by seeing the name. But actually it was published by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Now he authored some books also. The Precepts of Jesus, which was in English language. Okay, then Tuhfatul Muwahidin, a gift to monotheist. Okay, that's what the meaning, and it was in Persian. So basically this you need to be a little more careful, because the name will force you to pick some other answer. Okay, so just before I told you, if you get option where Sir Syed Ahmad Khan is there, you may tend to pick that as the correct answer. But Raja Ram Mohan Roy, just remember this, Tuhfatul Muwahidin and Miratul Akbar. Okay, now he was born on 22 May 1772 in Bengal and died 27 September 1833 in Bristol. And Raja Ram Mohan Roy, the title Raja was given to him by Akbar II, and not because he was Raja of any state or kingdom. So it was a title given to him, and he died in Bristol. Okay, he died in Bristol. He went to England to request the Queen to grant some more pension to the King Akbar II. Okay, so these are the important points that we need to discuss under Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Now, even after the death of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, the Brahma Sabha or the Brahmo Samaj was continued by Devendra Nath Tagore and Keshub Chandra Sen, which I have already told you. These two people are very important because these are the two people who took Brahmo Samaj outside Bengal, especially Keshub Chandra Sen. Now, if you get a mains question on Raja Ram Mohan Roy, how will you conclude? Or basically, what is the importance of Raja Ram Mohan Roy? So he was the first among the Indians to start a social reform. Okay, or he was the first among the Indians who started thinking logically, rationally, and which is based on evidence and reason. Better political thinking. So he started reform with modern scientific and rational ideas, political liberal ideas, etc. Okay, that's the importance of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Literary contribution we have discussed, and other social contribution also we have discussed. So he questioned the practices of Hindu society, So Hindu society, he questioned the practices like untouchability, like polytheism, pantheism, idol worship, etc. And he opened Brahmo Samaj, which promoted single god concept, formless god concept, and no idol worship. Okay. The similarity with Arya Samaj, this is reformist movement. Arya Samaj was revivalist movement, but still the similarity is idol worship was opposed by both. Okay. Now he was ready to accept good things from other culture. Okay. At the same time, he was proud of his own culture, and he tried to abolish atrocities, like he was against untouchability and especially sati. Okay. So he abolished untouchabilities. So you can write sati. He did not went for any such movement for untouchability, but still you can talk about sati. And for all these reasons, you can call him as father of modern India, at least for the first reason. Started reform. He was the first person who started thinking, not the first person, first Indian who started thinking modern lines, scientific lines, and rationally, and political liberal thoughts. Okay, I hope this is clear for all of you. Now, let's quickly look at the main principles of Brahmo Samaj. Okay, so main principles of Brahmo Samaj. So basically the first and most important one is God is one. He is worthy of worship and is prohibited from being worshipped as God or goddesses. God is formless, and you cannot treat him as human, you cannot treat him as animal, so you cannot consider goddess or God. God is one. Okay, so that's the concept. God is one and he is worthy of worship. Now second point, people of every caste or class had the right to worship God. Okay, so all caste or class have the right to worship God. Next point, there is no need of a symbol for devotion. There is no need of symbol for devotion. Okay, no need of symbol for devotion. Next point, God is immortal and he will never birth in the form of a man. Okay, God is immortal and he will never birth in the form of a man. Next point, salvation is almost impossible without the mercy of God. You need the mercy of God to achieve salvation. So salvation is impossible without the mercy of God. So these are key points. Some more point if you need. Saul is immortal. Saul is immortal. Okay. Then next point, salvation can be achieved by giving up committing obscins. Okay, so giving up committing obscins, you will achieve salvation. So don't commit obscins. Next is to love human beings and to have love towards them is the supreme religion. So he is basically promoting love, and love is the supreme religion. Now finally, there is no place for idol worship. Okay, so two key points if you ask me. This is one and this is one and this is the second one. So these are the two key points. Otherwise all are features or points we can write under Brahmo Samaj.